Welcome to this second in the series of 6 videos about Introduction to Music Fundamentals. Today we're going to be dealing with quavers, semi-quavers and their rests, and dotted notes. Let's first look at something called the family tree of notes. In the last video you learned about semibreves, minims and crotchets. If you look at this diagram, which you'll see on your screen now, you'll see that one semibreve can be divided into 2 minims, and 1 minim is equal to 2 crotchets. So each of the notes can divide equally into 2.
Mandithi ngiyabheka lama notes abese siwadiscussile ayahlukana, so ungazuqhathanisa njengomndeni. Lawa ama beats awu4 aba ilawa round bese ayahlukana ayehla aba ama beats amabili ama value a bese mayiqhubeka iyehla kwi crochet ibe ibeat elilodwa kodwa iyahlukana ngokwehla.
But what happens if you want something that is smaller than 1 beat? Remember that we've worked with 1 counts, 2 counts, 3 counts, 4 counts. But music isn't just made up of notes that are full beats. Sometimes we have much shorter note values. Well, what happens then? We can do exactly the same as what we did in the family tree of notes. We can divide each note into 2. So, for example, the crotchet can divide into 2. That means that each of those notes must be worth a half. That means if you divide 1 into 2, it becomes half. Those types of notes are called quavers. But you can do exactly the same with a quaver. It also can divide into 2. This time, a half divided by 2 equals to 2 quarters, and we call those notes semi-quavers. How do you draw a quaver? It looks very similar to a crotchet, but it has a little flag on it. A semi-quaver has 2 flags on it.
Ingxenyana ye note nayo iyakwazi ukuhlukana. Ihlukana kabili njengalama note lawa besiwadiscusse before.
Now, this is what the new family tree would look like if we added all of those notes together. You'd see that at the top is the semibreve. It divides into 2 minims. A minim can divide into 2 crotchets. A crotchet can divide into 2 quavers, and a quaver can divide into 2 semi-quavers.
Njengoba bese ngishilo njengomndeni, njengoba iyehla i-crochet iyakwazi ukuhlukana ize iyofika kwingxenyana ye-note ekugcineni.
Now, just as we had with semibreves, minims, and crotchets where you could have equal amounts of silence, you can also have equal amounts of silence in rests for quavers and semi-quavers. A quaver rest that is half a beat of rest looks a little bit like a 7, if you just go like that, a 7 like that. And a semi-quaver rest looks like a 7 with 2 arms on it.
Impumulo ikhona nakwengxenyana ye-note nawo nje ayasebenza njengalamanye ama note njengoba makuhamba amaculo kuba nempumulo.
So now let's have a look at that family tree again, but this time with the rests. At the top you can see the 4 count note or the semibreve note rest. Then that can divide into 2 minim rests. A minim rest can divide into 2 crotchet rests. A crotchet rest can divide into 2 quaver rests, and a quaver rest can divide into 2 semi-quaver rests.
Impumulo nakumculo iyakwazi ukuhlukana njengomndeni kwama note. Ayehla njengoba lawa phezulu abala afana njengalawa 4 beats, ama beats awu4. Bese iziyehle iziyofika kwingxenyana ye-note ekugcineni.
Now, in the last lesson, we learnt about a 3-count note, which is called a dotted minim. It has a tiny little dot to the right-hand side. Now, 3-count notes are not the only notes which can get a dot. Any note from a semibreve all the way down to a semi-quaver can also have a dot next to it. But what does it mean? Well, when we look at the dotted minim, this is what it actually means. Look at the main note. The main note is a minim. It's worth 2. The dot indicates that you need to add half of the original value. So if the original value is 2, half of that value is 1. So you say 2 plus 1 is equal to 3.
Makuneqhashaza eduze kwenote kuchaza ukuthi lelo qhashaza lithatha u-half wenote lu-ede kuyona inote. Asithi uno-2. Uma uthatha u-1 ku-2 uthatha i-half walowo 2 bese ubekele esayidini bese kube lelo qhashaza uzobulithola.
But what if we have to do it with a different note? So now on your screens you will see a dotted crotchet. Let's work the same way that we did with the last one. The main note, a crotchet, is worth 1. Okay? The dot indicates that we have to add half. So 1 divided by 2 is a half. So we say 1 plus a half is equal to 1.5. So a dotted crotchet note is equal to 1.5 beats.
Njengoba ubona inote elinesiqu esinye lineqhashaza eduze kwayo. Uma uhlukanisa kuba u-half wo-1. Uma ubeka eduze kwawo kube iqhashaza lenote. Leliqhashaza liseduze kwayo kuba u-half. Mase usu-edile lama notes ahlangana kuba u-1.5.
Now, as I said to you before, any note that we've learnt about so far can also have a dot next to it, and so can its rest. If you look at the screen now, you'll see a small table which shows you each of the notes that we have learned so far with a dot next to it, also what its rest would look like if it had a dot next to it, and what it's worth. So you'll see at the top is a dotted semi-breve. That means for a 4-count note, plus half its value, which is 2, is 6. 4 plus 2 is 6. So a dotted semi-breve is worth 6. But if you look at all of the examples, you will see just how much each of them is worth.
Amase sehlangene wonke sesihlanganisa amanote nempumulo wawo. Uma suthi uyabheka ngakusandla sakho sokudla kuzobe sekuchazela ukuthi ivalue yalama note nempumulo wayo esehlangene afika kuba.
Now let's listen to a song which all of you will know. I'm sure most of you, at least not all of you, will know, SHOSHOLOZA. This song has dotted notes, it has quavers, and it has a semi-quaver in it. So it's got everything that we've learnt about in this lesson. I'm going to sing it for you now and see if you can hear what's going on related to what we've learnt. So here goes. SHOSHOLOZA, SHOSHOLOZA, kule zontaba stimela sipume South Africa. That was a bit low. Let me try it again. SHOSHOLOZA, SHOSHOLOZA, kule zontaba stimela sipume South Africa. Now, if we were to clap along with that, just with the beat, then you would hear how each of these dotted notes and each of the quavers works. Just out of interest, you will see if you look at the syllable lo from SHOSHOLOZA, the second one, you'll see 2 notes that are joined with a line. When you get 2 quavers in a row, you can join them together. It's called beaming. You can beam 2 of them together. That's what's happened on the syllable lo. You'll see it again on the syllable ta for lezontaba. You'll see that 2 of the quavers are joined together. So those are still quavers. Even though they are joined together, they are 2 separate notes. I'm going to clap the rhythm and then you'll hear how it works. SHOSHOLOZA, SHOSHOLOZA, kule zontaba stimela sipume South Africa. What you will have seen there is that sometimes, like on the syllable lo, you get 2 notes in the space of 1 beat. Those are quavers. But you'll see at the beginning, SHOSHOLOZA. The SHO is longer than 1 beat. So this is what we get. SHOSHOLO. The second beat already has to start before the second SHO can come in. Now, there are some other examples which you will be familiar with. Here's a little bit of the national anthem. Here you can see a dotted quaver followed by a semi-quaver. And I'll sing it for you now, then you can hear what it sounds like. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Listen to it again while I clap so that you can see the words sounds the actually all happens within 1 beat. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Another song which starts with a dotted quaver and a semi-quaver is Happy Birthday. Happy birthday to you. So whenever you need to clap a dotted quaver with a semi-quaver, you can start sounds the or happy birthday, and that will give you the rhythm. D, da, D. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I don't think that's
okay. The last thing that we're going to add on this particular lesson is tied notes. Notes can be put together to create longer time values. So far, we've learned that there's a time value for 6 beats and for 4 beats. One is called the semi-breve, the other one is the dotted semi-breve. But we don't actually have a symbol for 5 beats. So there's only one way to create that. It's to have a 3-count note, a dotted minim, tied to a minim. 1 is equal to 3, 1 is equal to 2. When you put a tie in between them, they become 1 note. So if you look at the screen now, you'll see that there is a crotchet worth 1 tied to a quaver, which is worth 2. That means that that whole note is equal to 3.
Amanothi ayakwazi ukuba nehlanganisa amanothi. Lokho kwenza ukuthi kucishe kufane njengempumulo. Kuba nento oyidwebayo ngaphansi kwamanothi ahlanganisa ukuthi njengoba lihamba iculo kuthathe leso sikhathi njengempumulo. So i-crotchet liyakwazi ukuhlangana nelinye inote li-add i-value layo kulelo note.
So you've learned a whole lot today. You've learned about quavers and semi-quavers. You've learned about their rests. You've learned about dotted notes, and you've learned about tied notes. And that is how we conclude today's lesson.